Hello friends. The American poet Emily Dickinson says, "Poetry is a dictation of God." Edgar Allan Poe states that the words of poetry are a rhythmic creation of beauty. Wordsworth describes poetry as a product of spontaneous emotions and tranquil thoughts. Shelley claims the hidden beauty of the world is unveiled through poetry. The list goes on. I could discuss the topic of poetry endlessly. I believe firmly that poetry carries the truth of our soul. It is the language of our hearts. Honestly, friends, I feel the touch and smell the fragrance of poetry whenever I talk about English romantic poetry. One of my favorite poems is John Keats' Ode on a Grecian Urn. Yes, you catch me right. This video lecture is on the same topic. This poem, Ode on a Grecian Urn, was published in 1820, and historical records indicate that this was the time when ancient Greek sculptures from the Parthenon were removed from Ottoman Greece and brought to the British Museum by Thomas Bruce, the 7th Earl of Elgin, also known as Lord Elgin. This acquisition of Greek sculptures generated controversy. Some critics claim Elgin looted these marbles from Greece and placed them in the British Museum. Others argue that these marbles were illegally obtained from Greece. Against this controversial backdrop, Keats writes this ode and showcases the impeccable beauty of marble art through the Grecian urn. As the title suggests, it is a lyrical ode about a Grecian urn that carries some wonderful scenic inscriptions of Greek pastoral life. Keats establishes a strong connection to the urn from the very beginning of the poem. He experiences a personal bond with the urn and personifies it by directly addressing it as thou. The urn carries the weight of time, memories, and silent stories. The use of personification shows how deeply Keats feels enchanted by the urn and its inscriptions. The first stanza of the poem consists of 10 lines, and Keats uses unique titles like Unravished Bride of Quietness, Foster Child of Silence and Slow Time, and Sylvan Historian for the Grecian urn. The urn is a marble artwork created from the imagination of a sculptor who shaped, carved, decorated, and inscribed events on it. An artist appreciates a piece of art. Keats calls the urn an unravished bride of quietness because both the urn and the historical events inscribed on it remain locked away in a museum, waiting perhaps for some great artist to stop by and recognize the socio-historical richness of the urn and its inscriptions. Now that Keats' artistic eyes have caught sight of it, the urn will finally receive the respect and fame that it deserves. It is also an interesting fact to know that how Keats came to know about this urn. It was in 1817 that his friend Benjamin Robert Haydon, a painter by profession, presented a book to Keats which was titled as History of Greece. It was written by Goldsmith. Keats found the reference to the urn in this book. Perhaps that is why he addresses the urn as the foster child of silence and slow time. Keats refers to the urn as a sylvan historian. Sylvan means forest dweller, and a forest dweller possesses knowledge of the organic properties of the forest, and in this way a sylvan is in any ways a historian. By calling the urn a sylvan historian, Keats emphasizes that the Grecian urn is a rich reservoir of untold stories of the Greek pastoral life. The rest of the 6 lines in the first stanza express the exclamatory and interrogatory remarks by an awestruck poet who is mesmerized by the beautiful carving on the urn. He sums up his excitement by saying, what wild ecstasy! The second stanza begins with the most favorite line of all literature lovers. Heard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter. This is a psychological truth. It is a natural human tendency to know something that is unheard, unshared, and untouched so far. That is why we research and research in the hunt for novelty and excitement. So we are always curious and anxious to dig deep and find some fresh, unique truth that is unheard so far. Here in the poem, Keats disconnects himself and also his readers from the noise of the industrial age and presents before us an urn that carries the unheard and ecstatic melodies carved on it. The same passionate narration spills over to the third stanza, where a joyful young lover chases his beloved under the full-grown boughs of the spring season. It is noticeable that Keats repeats the word happy 5 times here and thus emphatically creates a joyful stillness of love and happiness all around. The fourth stanza describes an inscription of sacrifice, and Keats uses all the saddening lines in describing a peaceful citadel that is emptied of its folk, a pious morning in the town with silent and desolate streets. The last stanza perfectly describes a pastoral Attic life, which means life in Athens, a Greek town, where the village folk live simply and ideally in harmony with nature. Their serene lifestyle prepares a legacy of inspiring stories for the new generation, which is generally found woebegone and discouraged. The urn and its stories will bring them back to the basic concept of simple living and serene thinking. The younger generation will learn the ultimate wisdom from the flora and fauna of the town. And that ultimate wisdom, according to Keats, is beauty is truth, truth beauty, that is all you know on earth and all you need to know. Keats says that the ultimate beauty lies in embracing the truth, albeit he says there is no difference between truth and beauty. The urn carries the pictures of joy and sorrow, celebration and sacrifice, happiness and mourning, youth and old age, faith and doubt, etc. This shows the coexistence of the two sides of the coin of human life. Keats says that material things are ephemeral. It's thick and thin, rain and shine, come and go with time. What remains firm and perpetual is nothing but truth. Here I am reminded of one of the Indian scriptural maxims that says Satyam Shivam Sundaram, which means truth, well-being and beauty. Life is beautiful on embracing the truth. It becomes eternally peaceful and pleasantly still, just like the inscriptions on the urn, by embracing truth, that is the ultimate beauty on this earth. Odd on a Grecian Urn acquaints us with Keats' philosophical bent and shows how nature, the green vegetation, and nature, the omnipotent, both co-pilot the poetic plane of romantic poetry. That is it for today. Keep reading. Bye for now.